welcome back again. And finally, I have a question for Jay, which is from somebody else in a group that I'm closely connected to, where I do some learning. So this is the question, word for word as it came to me, Jay. And it says, so the person speaking says, I'm working on an MA in linguistics and I'm interested in textual criticism of Quranic documents. Do you know of any areas where research is needed?
Good question. Whoever that person is, I thank him for that, because he is actually in a what we call a virginal area. This is an area that no one has done really good research on. So it's open a season for him, which means he can pretty much go anywhere he wants in this area. But let me suggest that one of the big problems we're having is looking at how Arabic changed in the 7th century, or where it is derived from. Because the Arabic of the Quran, the Quranic Arabic that we read here, this is not from the Hijaz. This is not from the central part of Arabia. This is not from Mecca and Medina, that area where supposedly the Quran was created, was where it was first derived and written down, where Umar and I'm sorry, not Umar, Abu Bakr and Umar first had the first recension. Zayd ibn Thabit, the secretary of Muhammad. If he's a secretary, that means he lived in either Mecca or Medina. So the Quran that we see here is a much more stylized form of the Quran. And what the linguists are saying now is that it actually comes from the north. It comes from the Nabatean area, north of Hegera, and north over up near Petra, up much further north. But we need to have more study on this. This would be a great one for him to do his paper on, because what we do know and what seems to be coming together is there's an awful lot of theories out there, but the theories are not being coalesced into actual application. And the application is exciting, because if that is the case, if the Arabic that we see in the Quran is not from the central part of Arabia, therefore it could not have come from anybody living in Mecca and Medina, and it comes from much further north. Doesn't that also follow what we've been hearing about the Qiblas? Isn't that also follows what we've been hearing about all the geographical locations in the Quran, that they're all following all around what is today Petra or Jordan? So if that is the case, then we need a linguistic alliance with this paleographical studies of the manuscript evidence, and also the architectural studies of the buildings, and also of the Qiblas, and then also with the documentary evidence that we're seeing on the inscriptions and the letters and whatnot, that this is all pushed up much further north. That would be a great one for him to do. Tell him, kudos to him, and he can pretty much say and do and everything he likes. What's good is because this is so new and it is so virginal, whatever he does will be foundational for others who come later.
Excellent. I'll pass that on, and that ties in really nicely with what we were discussing previously about the Qibla. I hadn't considered that, actually. I just assumed that all of the scholarly work that could have been done was probably done by now, just from the age of the documents involved. But I guess there's always new ground to break and new theories to kind of really
there's a reason why scholarly work has not been done on this, and this is something that Muslims don't like to hear. But just by asking this question, where does the Arabic of the Quran come from, by coming to conclusions that it's coming further north, what Muslim would ever ask that question? And what institution in the Muslim world would ever accept a degree or even a paper that asks questions like that? It's not healthy for you. So this is one area of study that you will not find in the Middle East. You will not find in the Muslim world. They dare not ask these kind of questions. They can ask these kind of questions in the West. And that's why Muslims who are asking these questions are all from Western universities and Western institutions, where you have the freedom to do that. And that's why this fellow who asked you the question, I assume it's a fellow.
Fred. Yeah, Fred.
I'm sorry?
His name's Fred.
Fred, who asked this question, I'm assuming he's studying here in the West. He's probably studying, is he studying in Europe?
No, I think he's in South America or America. Yeah, southern or
this
south.
part of the hemisphere, then he has the freedom to do so, all the more so since we have the freedom to do so. Why don't we do so? And that's why all this newest study on the history of Islam is all coming out of the West. It's not coming from Islam at all. And though it's been around for 1400 years, you are right. Why haven't they've had plenty of time to ask these questions? Why did somebody somewhere actually follow the ethos of how the Arabic, the literary standpoint of how Arabic actually evolved? Because that's something that we've done in the West with Hebrew, we've done it with Greek, we've done it with...
Exactly. The Bible is one of the best researched and attested to documents ever, I guess. It's been pored over by numerous scholars of many different faiths. And I heard the argument, it was quite a strange argument the other day, to account for some grammatical errors in the Quran. The Muslim guy that I was debating with told me that actually the Quran is perfect Arabic. And what I asked him was, well, did Arabic exist before the Quran? And he had to, of course, answer yes. And therefore, how can a book be revealed in a perfect version of a language that's never been heard before? Who attested to its perfection? Who decides that now our whole language will change in line with this one book from from wherever its source originated? So I guess, yeah, it's something to
Well, now
ponder
you're
on.
bringing up a whole can of worms which we don't have time to get into, because
No,
even
for
that
sure.
question, how you answer it, would go for another hour. But
Yeah,
good stuff. Thanks to Fred for the question. Good to be able to answer it the best I
yeah.
can.
Thanks very much, Jay.
Okay, Kay. Bye bye.
Bye bye.